As I always say, everything has an expiration date. Hey guys, it is an I4 aka Siobhan the Greats, and I'm back with another video. I'm drinking a little wine. That was noisy. And I can't sleep. This is my guy child, by the way. This is I want to talk about what happens when you go back to certain settings, certain situations that you've outgrown. Any situation that I have went back to, or any setting that I have went back to, it was never the same. No relationship situation is the same the second time around. It's not supposed to be, because life is about expansion. It's about growth. It's about movement, right? So it's not going to be the same the second time around. But it's very seldom, it's very rare that when you go back into a setting, it's better. It's very rare. I've seen people rekindle situations, friendships, relationships, and it is very rare that I've seen that the situation or the friendship, very seldom, is better. It doesn't get better. It doesn't change. It may even end up worse or something else happen. And I'm talking about this topic because I had a conversation with a family member of mine and a friend of mine about going back in old situations and old settings, right? Everything is a source, right? Everything is all connected. I want to use the part in the Bible where I knew about the story when I was younger. What book was it? Genesis 19. One of my quotes is, "Don't look back. You're not going that way. Don't look back. You're not going that way." That was one of the quotes that I put that came from just me when I was writing my quotes. The Bible in Genesis 19, though people don't, it's a cautionary tale. People don't always believe biblical, but to me, it's still symbolism. It's still a lesson, and it's still kind of relevant to things that transpire in today's time, or just reality. God told her, don't look back. And when she looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt. It says that the story was used as a cautionary tale in the Bible to emphasize the importance of obedience and trust in God during times of divine judgment. But I want to use it as symbolism and take it up a notch. As I always say, everything has an expiration date. Everything has an expiration date. We all go through many different dark night of the souls, metamorphosis, life cycles. Life is about growth. You crawl to walk, and you walk to run. Evolution. You evolve over time. And I was talking to a family member about mine. She was like, I don't know. I've seen people get back together after years later, and it went well. And I'm like, you don't know the backstory, one, and two, those situations are kind of like a hit or miss. It's not necessarily, that's not necessarily the case. It's not necessarily 100%. And maybe I could be speaking from trauma, also personal experience, but also I feel like it's a lesson in it. The Bible, that verse is biblical and symbolism to that when you take a step back, you're hindering yourself from growth, expansion, and moving forward. I don't really believe in going back, Even a friend of mine has sent something about, I think I talked about this in another video, about, having old relationships come back is not a compliment. Once you've grown, it's a red flag. And it is, because part of that is a place of the past, and mainly it's just still testing on whether you've grown from that place you were at. You evolve over time. So to go back into a certain setting in a situation that you have outgrown, that has expired, What happens when you consume things that are expired? What happens when you go and try to touch old, ancient, vintage things? It fall apart, it breaks, right? Or if you try to consume that, you may even kick the bucket. It's not prevalent to that time. It's not suitable for that time, because some things phase itself out. Like, though history repeats itself, when it repeats itself, sometimes to me, it's innovated. It's to fit the current times. Just like the story I'm saying, just symbolism. I'm using that as an example. Most of the situations and settings where I've caught myself rekindling a friendship or relationship or going back to a certain setting, it didn't end well. I've stated before, I moved back to a certain area where I had outgrown physically. It was to the point where, again, I was shopping in an entire different area that was more upscale because I did not resonate with the area that I lived in. All for the simple fact of feeling like I have to save a few dollars, and I was forced out of that environment. It was unfortunate, the situation that happened, but I had outgrown that situation. I had evolved. I did what I needed to do. It expired, and I went back into the situation, and God showed me, when you go back, this is going to happen because you're not supposed to go back. That situation was a lesson in itself, and I believe the same way about jobs. Once, if they fired you, if you quit, that's it. Evolve and go to another form. Now, in very rare situations, I believe you maybe can rekindle and go back into certain settings as your evolved self and do something different from what you did before. But I don't believe in going back. So, moral of the story, the message of this, we're going to make this short, sweet, and simple. Don't look back. You're not going that way. In Genesis 19, when she looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt. Because you're not going that way. Why are you looking back? Life is about expansion, growth, and continue to move forward in time. Why are we going back? We've learned the lesson we're supposed to learn, unless you didn't learn it. It expired. You have evolved. What benefit would you have to going back to a certain friendship, a relationship, or anything? Because again, nothing is the same the second time around. No friendship, no relationship is going to be different. Y'all miss so much. It's a lot to fill in. You're a different person now. You don't even know if you guys are compatible at that point. You don't know that. So now you have to spend this time getting to know each other, and it just may not pick back up where it left off. It's not going to, because life has happened. And again, it's very rare that it would be better. Sometimes it's worse, because you realize, it was just a fantasy from the past. That's not the same. I've outgrown that. I don't feel that same way. So more of the story is, I don't care if it's the job, it's the relationship, it's the friendship, it's the school that you previously went to, it's the area that you previously lived in, the neighborhood that you previously kicked it in. Once you evolved and you fully ascended, don't go back permanently. I'm not saying you can't visit home. I'm not saying you can't visit family and friends, but to continue to parlay and go back and move to certain settings, I don't believe in that.
Nope.
Even when people move back to their hometown, don't go back to the same area. Don't move back. Move to a suburban area. Move to a different side of town. Don't go back to the same settings. You have outgrown that. I've tried in situations, let me go back and get an old number. Oh, it didn't work out. I've evolved. I've changed. Once you move forward, don't go back. And again, this is not me taking away from people who keep the same situations for years and they're stable. You have built that foundation. You are continuing to evolve in that setting. But to leave something, master it, learn the lesson, it expired, the end of that phase or that cycle, and move into a completely different cycle that's elevated and go back. The only how, and I'll use this last situation, I feel like that is necessary is if you are going to, I'm going to give an example, take a pay cut, but you know that you're going to evolve and make way more at some point, or you're going to aim for more. And that situation is suitable. That's not necessarily going back to a certain setting. That's putting you in a certain frequency momentarily for monetary wise that will evolve, because money, you spend it. It's like currency. It's like the wheel of fortune. It spins. It goes through different cycles and metamorphosis. That's not the same setting. If you do have a setting like that and you want to look at it as going back, be my guest. Then yes. But relationships, the job, the school, the friendship, the mindset, the habits, once you have evolved, let it go. The old hairstyles, nothing wrong is wrong with vintage, but once you have evolved, the old ways of being and talking, let it go. Let it go. Don't go back. You're not going that way. And again, thanks for coming to my channel. Quick little TED Talk. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.